that wants to actually instruct on that. So I'm in court doing this right now, and I'm going to open up about 4 more cases because I can't rely on just one judge. And then I'm going to see if I can do it. And if everybody wants to try and nail this down, you better nail down the procedure of how it's done, not just how to make a claim and whether or not, which is in the first instance, and then how do you convince a jury, which is in almost the last instance. Everything in between is not being discussed.
What?
Everything in between is not being discussed.
Well, you know, it's just that all the juries we've seen so far, except for Joe Bannister's, you know, have found in favor of the prosecutor.
Of course.
Or the judge. So why would you set yourself up for that to begin with?
Well, I'm not arguing the point whether it's smart, crazy, or not. What I'm saying, where's the process so that you get a $1.50 and you go to the grocery store and you put a can of beans up on the counter, they'll take your $1.50 every single time. So if I go to court and I want to hold the court a record, what's the methodology and the procedure that every time I can get to a jury and let a jury decide? Now you can go to, okay, how do you frame your argument and how do you frame your evidence so a jury will decide in your favor? That's a secondary question.
Well, you know, you can look at Jon Stewart's case, which was just
Isn't Jon Stewart going to jail?
Yeah, he was found guilty by a jury.
Well, there you go.
But the cops, you know, they destroyed the evidence of his that would have proved his innocence. They lost it.
Jon Stewart goes to jail. Dean Clifford gets thrown in jail all the time. The Rock Class gets thrown in jail. And I say because of what's happening in supposedly a court of record is where the judge is not the deciding factor. In every one of those cases,
Angela, let me go back to what this guy was saying before I lost the call.
Okay.
All that I was trying to tell the man is you're trying to sue for something that hasn't happened yet.
Right.
Well,
no, it is happening because they're making demands for me to move out.
What makes you believe that they're making demands on you?
I've been given postings of letters demanding that I move out.
Stop. And you believe that you're reading some sort of legalese code or some sort of legalese. Something was handed to you in Chinese, and you believe that you deciphered it to read "get up" or "get out"?
No, actually, no. What I did is I did an unconditional acceptance of their offer.
No. I didn't say that. Somebody handed you something in Chinese and legalese, and you believe that you were a code decipher, and you think you were able to read something coming from the legal society? If you answered into the legalese society, then you bind yourselves to operate in the capacity of somebody who's a legalese interpreter, and then you know the ramifications of when you get yourself involved with those people and you start answering, then you're going to get jurisdiction and control over you. You just say, I have no idea what you're writing.
No.
It's all gibberish. Some man got to make it.
I did not answer into their statute. I went and filed my own claim.
You just filed a claim saying that you're hurting me because of this crazy Chinese gibberish is coming across your way. You just answered your own damn thing. And now somebody's sending me some nonsense. It's like, who is making a claim that I must vacate this premises? Let the man or woman come forward and make their claim. The bank is not a claim. Redo your claim. Make a claim. File in a proper manner. You didn't have to answer to that gibberish. You wanted to put on the big boy pants and be a code decipherer? Well, God bless you. Be the code decipherer. Somebody sends me that gibberish and it's like, you're going to have to speak in plain common terms of English. A man is going to have to communicate with me, another man. I do not speak to attorneys. I don't speak to representatives. I don't speak to anything. I don't speak to any government agency. When people ask me that with your child, when the child was taken away from the hospital from you 13 years ago, what's the first thing I said to the government employees? Are you here in official capacity or are you speaking to me man to man? Unless you're speaking to me man to man, I do not have any idea of any words that are uttering out of your mouth. Because you're here to maintain a position and you're coming here under some sort of statute or some sort of code. The government is, allowing you to operate under, right? Yeah, well, I don't operate under that jurisdiction and I have no idea what you're saying. Now, when you talk to me man to man, then we got something to talk about. Until now,
that's the tactic I was taking when I go into the eviction hearing. I was doing exactly that.
What eviction hearing? You believe they're evicting you because you think you got something that says eviction. See, if somebody sent me an eviction hearing with your name on it, your address, I'd say, what is this piece of paperwork that you keep sending to me? I have no idea who this person is. I'm a man. Who's the man who's telling me that they're going to evict me from this property? Make himself known so I could pay him, so I could compensate him. If he's got a superior claim to this property, I'll be more than glad to compensate him. But I haven't seen anybody tender me any kind of claim that I'm squatting on their property. I'm taking another man's property. Make themselves known.
That's a more precise conditional acceptance.
Yeah, none of this nonsense about true weights, measures, and silver. I don't care, man. If you want to pay me in 10,000 tons of peanut butter, believe me, I'll put it on eBay and I'll get 10 grand for it. I don't need gold or silver. Just give me anything of value. That's all money is, in a medium of exchange, which two people believe has value. It doesn't have to be gold. You guys are getting hung up on this gold and silver nonsense. I'm telling you, if the economy collapses, or when the economy collapses, and the only thing that's left is gold and silver, I am telling you, you come to my farm with 10 tons of gold, and you see my cows and say, hey, look, I'll give you one little piece of gold for that cow, because that little piece of gold's got to be worth at least $10,000. I'll say, dude, go out on the road and starve. When the buzzards circle around you, I'm going to take you 10 tons of gold, and I'm going to have you gold, and you're going to be dead, because you got no food, because you value gold and silver more than worrying about food and water. If this is what you believe...
So you would tell the eviction court
I want to tell the eviction court
there is no man or woman making a claim.
No. They don't have jurisdiction control on me. You're answering to the teaspoon, like I did to the guy in the diner the other day. I picked up the spoon. I said, the IRS told him this. I said, dude, the eviction board is not... What eviction board? You mean a man named Bob, who's running the eviction hearing, is telling me to leave. Say, Bob, are you trying to tell me what I can and cannot do? Well, no, I'm not telling you. The eviction board is telling you. Okay, where's this eviction board going to appear? I'm waiting for it to appear. I'm waiting for the IRS to appear. I'm waiting for the United States of America to appear. Move your claim. I'm waiting for it to appear.
I stand there at the door of my shelter.
You don't stand anywhere. You write it to them. You say, hey, look, if anybody comes and interferes with my right to exist, then I'm going to make a claim against you. Give them fair warning. But you don't say you're hurting my feelings by sending me letters. Well, then what? You think if somebody sent me 10,000 pounds of Chinese, whatever, I'd say, oh my God, I'm going to sue them because they're scaring me. Oh, look at all this legalese I'm getting.
If someone threatened to take away your farm, you wouldn't do anything proactive.
In writing? What? Some lawyer sends it to me? Whoop-de-doo. Yeah. What if the Pope sends it to me? Whoop-de-doo. Dude, until they commit the crime, I can't sue him. He didn't do anything wrong to me yet. He didn't touch me, he didn't trespass on my property. He sent me a letter. Oh, boo-hoo, my feelings are hurt.
Okay. All right, well, I'll send him another letter saying that if there's a man making a claim, then that man needs to come forward.
That'd be a good start. If some man is making a claim that I'm taking possession of his wrongful or naked possession of his home, I'll be more than glad to turn it over with him or share it with him or compensate him for the wrong. But until he's dead, I have no idea who I'm doing wrong. Let the person make themselves known.
Okay.
Don't worry about all this gold and silver and equitable rates, and we got to get them to understand the cost. Who cares about any of that crap?
Well, okay. Now that's a good tactic to take. Now, when you've done that, and now they've actually come in and they've taken let's say supposedly they're going to take the property, because they're going to tell the sheriff that they have highest title and that they have process, and the sheriff's going to come out. And he's going to order me to leave, and I know what you say about ordering. You give him a bill.
Great. Hopefully, you better believe if somebody went to court and they got some eviction order on me, I say, good, I know that's all bonded, right? I know you got a bond attached to that order.
Right.
Right, give me the bond. So whatever, if he gives you a bond that's worth $1 million, let him keep the freaking house, keep the bond. And
I'm all for that.
Yeah, cash it in. That's what I told the cop, and this is what happened to me back in 2007 when they tried to come to my sister's home, and I just happened to be standing there. I said, I hope it's bonded. They said, oh, well, we could go back and get a bond. That's great. And then when you walk in that house, I'm telling you, you're going to break my $1 million Ming vase, and I'm going to keep your bond.
Right.
And you said, oh, you got $1 million Ming vase in there? I said, I'll find one on eBay that's broken for 2 cents, and I'll make a claim that you broke my $1 million vase.
So really, you never get to court.
No, they're not crazy enough, because when I want to try to do, everything's in writing. There's no reason to ever take anybody to court because they know what you're doing.
Well, that's what Bill Thorne is saying, that the actual court of record is all in writing.
Okay, Bill doesn't have an effing clue what he's talking about. I'm going to break your little heart right now, because the only way you can create a record is when it's all uttered by the by the word. Viva voce.
So how do you get in front of a magistrate and exert your authority in a court of record when you're in front of a judge/magistrate?
When you're all you have to do is you're creating you create the file by putting the paperwork before the court.
Right.
The paperwork doesn't become a record until it's uttered in open court. Until somebody speaks and testifies to it and gives the other side to speak now, forever hold their peace. If they speak now, forever hold their peace, well then, there you go. If they refuse to speak, then there's the record. And nobody challenged the record.
But the judge wants to keep you in statute and not allow that.
That's ridiculous. Watch a Judge Judy show. Every single episode for the last 17 years from that lady has not been in statute. Every single one ever show she's done has always been in common law. She's never relied upon any stupid statute. So don't tell me judges all hold everybody in statute. That's not true. Watch 10,000 episodes of all these Judge Millions and Judge Judy shows and Judge Wapner shows. It's all common law. Somebody's making a brief.
So there's a court of record. Are you saying that there's no common law court?
All courts are courts of record. Now, if
is there a common law court?
Okay.
Yeah, but the ones on TV are all for show.
Okay, but they still that ruling that Judge Judy makes. And she has had the episode in New York. If the people came from California, it still will hold merit and still hold weight.
Because everybody enters into a contract and agrees in advance that her decision is what they're going to abide by.
Well, every court in this country, I don't care what court you have the ruling in, it's going to hold weight. Now, I don't care if you go to a court in North Dakota with 3 people that live in it. If you get a ruling by that court, it's going to be observed by every other court in the nation as true. So that's why I say to people, why are you running to these big federal courts? Go to your local mom and pop district court, because it has just as much weight as any other court in the United States. You don't got to go for these big old iron, the big old pillars with the wood, the cherry wood, benches. Just go to local mom and pop courthouse somewhere. Get a ruling. It's not going. It's going to be staying true no matter where you go. There's the full faith and credit clause. No matter what court you get a ruling in, it's like you get married in a little one church. It doesn't matter if you get married at St. Patrick's Cathedral. You're still married. They're going to recognize it as a true marriage. It doesn't matter where you get married. You get married
so a quarter, you submit everything onto the record. You go in, you stand on your record, and you voice it into court, and then the judge miraculously accepts that as your testimony, and that there's no man coming with a claim against you, and therefore you get your judgment.
Then he's just in the capacity of a magistrate. If nobody's going to open up their mouth and argue the case, argue their side, there's no need for a referee. Then all he's doing is he's just acting as a clerk and just saying, I witnessed this man from, Mr. Harris from Colorado appeared. The other person appeared, but the other person decided not to challenge Mr. Harris's claim, so it's standard unrebutted, so I witness as a true record. You spoke in an open court. You demanded, you don't make a demand, you require that you be spoken in open court. That way it's pressed upon a record. That's how you make a record. You press it. Like I said, Elvis Presley doesn't write sheet music. Elvis Presley sings with his voice, and then it creates a record. Unless you're singing, unless you're creating a record with your voice, it's not a record. You're just filing paperwork. So if Billy Thornton says, well, there's something about the record is the paper. No, it's not. The record is the file. When you speak in an open court, then it becomes the record. You can't create a record with a piece of paper. You got to create a record with somebody singing into the microphone.
Well, and the thing is Karl, and I'm not saying I know how to do this. I'm just saying I'm asking for help. And getting into this court and getting a judge to be a magistrate is the first step, isn't it?
The judge will put on whatever hat and what he sees and happens in open court. He could flip. He could flip the hat one way or the other. He could say, "Oh wow, I'm in a common law court now." Okay, we were in statute like the lady in New Mexico when she got her kid back. She was going in a statute court. She was in family court, and then as soon as the judge heard her say, "Well, I'm a woman. The state has my property. I require the property returned to me immediately." The judge, all the statute stuff went out the window, and all he said to the lady was, "You're saying that the state has your property. You want it restored? Yes. And you don't want to work with the state? No. You don't want to work with me? No. You don't want to take AA classes? No. You don't want to take anger management? No. You don't want to go family planning? No. You don't want us to do home studies? No. I just want my property and I want to return to me immediately. And then he looked over at the state and said, give her back her property immediately. It's that simple. He didn't say, no, we're going to hold you in statute. She was brought there under statute. She was brought there in the state's case. The state had the case. It was their case, and she was the defendant in that case. She flipped it around in open court, and she said, no, I'm a woman. That's the state. They work for me. They have my property. Duty one for the state is any government is to secure and protect property. They got my property. It's secured. The job is to protect it. Now return it to me. Now I'm the lawful.
Now I'm going to accept this motion to dismiss from this attorney from the man in San Francisco as a gift from heaven, and then I have where he has answered, but he has not actually answered because he's doing it by attorney.
Well, to me, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying right now I still don't see where you have a case. The man is sending you letters, and you believe that you're reading something, and you believe it's threatening.
Yeah.
What man wrote that letter?
Well, he was under the authority of the man that I am taking a claim to.
Okay, so did you write a letter to this man, and so whatever the bank is, Wells Fargo, whatever it is, did you write to the man, Bob, and say, Bob, I got a very threatening letter from a supporter of yours named Bill, and I believe that he's going to threaten me. What are you going to do about it, Bob?
No, I sent it to his agent, and then that's probably another mistake. I sent it to his agent. But when I sent Bill, the guy in San Francisco, the claim, I sent a letter of offer and compromise to settle this matter immediately.
Okay, well, like I said, when somebody's doing wrong, or you believe that one of their subjects or supporters or citizens is doing you wrong, you got to let the head guy know, hey, this is going wrong. This is what I believe he's doing. I don't think he's, I think he's causing me harm. He's causing me injury, and I require of you to tell him to cease and desist immediately.
But that's what I did.
Okay, so then he had to basically say, F you, we're going to keep doing what we're doing, and we think that's fine.
Well, instead what he's doing, he's going to answer the claim.
No, I say that. No, I say that. I'm saying first you send him a notice. You send him a notice.
I sent him all that stuff over, and now it's been almost 21 days.
Okay, so within 21 days, you believe that you have the right to get some guy. Okay, so 21 days ago, you sent them a letter saying, hey, look, I'm giving you fair warning that a subordinate of yours is causing me harm.
Yeah.
Okay, and what did he do with that?
He's answering the claim by
How to say the claim. How to say the claim. The lawsuit is not a notice. A claim is not a notice. First you give the other side notice.
Well, in the case, I have a claim.
Okay. All I'm trying to say is if I hit your car with a shopping cart, what you're supposed to try to do is find out who hit the car with the shopping cart. And then you're supposed to say, hey, buddy, you just hit my car with the shopping cart. And then I'm supposed to say, oh, I did? Well, you're crazy. You're just picking on me because you think I got a lot of money. No, you just don't say, well, the guy hit me with the shopping cart, and then you just go and say, you know what, I'm suing you. And run right to the courthouse and sue. The court's going to want to see that you filed basically logical steps, like a logical, chronological steps.
Yeah, I have 2 notices prior to filing the case.
And what were the notices pertaining to?
The notice number 1 that I have highest title and I am not an occupant or a resident, but I'm taking shelter, and that was the first letter. And the second letter is they offered to pay me to get out, and I accepted that unconditionally.
Okay.
And then they dishonored their offer.
Okay, so how do you believe that they said they'd pay you?
Well, they said that they would pay me in an amount sum that they did not specify, so I specified it in my letter.
Oh, okay, so you believe that they would pay you because they said they would pay you, but they didn't put a dollar number down?
No, they didn't put a specificity as to the form of payment. They said they pay me, let's say they pay me $5,000, they didn't tell me $5,000 what. So I told them what I wanted the $5,000 to represent.
You wanted it in silver?
I wanted it in gold and silver, yeah, which is lawful money in the state.
So there was some reason why you couldn't take $5,000 and go buy yourself your own gold and silver?
Yes, because you cannot take 5,000 Federal Reserve notes and go buy my own. So I said, what I want you to do is I want you to give me enough of those notes so that I can go buy my own gold and silver.
Okay, so you're trying to tell me if you send me $5,000 in the mail right now, I can't go down to my local pawn shop and buy...
You can't go down and buy $5,000 of gold and silver face value. No, you cannot. And you know it, and I know it.
Well, who's this producer of these dollars in silver and gold that you know of? What face value?
You know what? It's not my law. It's their law for them. They're supposed to have lawful money.
Okay, so you're saying that they're in violation of their constitution?
Absolutely.
It's not your.
It's got nothing to do with me.
Okay, so if you and I have if I have a contract with my neighbor next door, and I'm in violation of if I'm in violation of that contract, what does that have to do with you?
Not a darn thing.
So then, what does it matter that they're in violation of their constitution? It's not your constitution, not your contract. So it doesn't matter.
Because them being in violation of their compact is in violation of their charter, and they were chartered under the authority of the state, which was under the authority of man people, and now they're harming the people, man, and I'm a man.
Okay, so you're trying to say that there's a man in China and they could go after the United States for suing the United States?
No, I'm on the land right here. And I'm taking shelter right here.
And you believe the United States is Colorado, and you just don't believe it's Columbia?
I don't care if it's the United States. I know that this is a piece of land that I am on, and my Creator gave me title.
Okay, but I thought the United States government only occupied the District of Columbia and military bases. So
that's why I don't care about United States. I don't care about Colorado. I don't care about any of that.
But that's their constitution.
They have to care about it because they're liable.
They're liable within their district of Washington, D.C. to operate under gold.
They're liable in their terms, conditions of being a person. They're liable, and I'm holding them to their liability.
So you're saying a private company won't pay you in gold or silver? Like, I'm a private guy, I won't pay you in gold and silver. So you're saying I'm in breach of the Constitution?
If we have a contract in gold and silver, you're going to give me gold and silver because that's our agreement.
So you tell me that bank has a contract with somebody to pay them in gold and silver?
That bank has a contract with the state to follow all the rules, regulations, and policies of the state, doesn't it?
No, I don't know. I didn't read it.
Yes,
I didn't read it. Okay, so you've got a copy of it, and it says that if you're going to operate as a business in this state, like if I'm going to open up my own ice cream parlor, I have to pay everybody in silver and gold.
If you're licensed in this state and you're doing business in this state, and you are you're beholding to the state compacts and their instrumentalities, yeah, you do.
So if I set up a lemonade stand and I charge people 5 cents a glass, you tell me I got to pay them in gold and silver?
If someone demands it and you don't give it, are you in violation of the rules, regulations, and policies? And the answer is yes.
No, I'm not, because I'm not bound to it, because I never signed on to it. I'm just a guy.
Okay. If someone doesn't demand it, that's one thing. And if you say that you are not bound to it, that's number two. These guys say that they're bound to these laws.
So you're trying to tell me that
they're in compliance.
So you're trying to tell me a corporation...
we need to wrap this up, guys.
Angela, you're wonderful. Thank you so much. Karl, I would love to continue sometime.
Yeah, but all I'm trying to say is with a corporation. Are you trying to say that a corporation has to do business with you, or they can deny you business? They just don't want your business. They say, look, you're crazy.
Okay, Karl, and then I'll go. The corporation that's licensed by the state, they are demanded to adhere to all the state rules, regulations, and policies, including their constitution.
Since you're so up on Colorado rules and laws and policies and constitution, can you show me, can you post where a corporation must pay in gold and silver to their customers? Because that's the lesson I think I got distracted by the chat. Hey, Angela, thanks so much. Karl, thank you, and I appreciate you. Love you all. Go ahead. We need you to post that for us, man, because that's about the most asinine shit I've ever heard. No, it's not going to be charted anywhere. I'd love to see any state that says, well, upon demand, upon your customer, if we give you, if I walk into Walmart and I hand a lady in Walmart a gold peso from Mexico, which is worth about $80, that somehow she's got to go and fetch gold and silver to pay me in change. They'd say, I'm telling you, if you take it to a trial by jury, the jury will think you're a bunch of nuts. They'll say, get the hell out of here, that's not the way we roll here. Now, if you could actually find the law that exists somewhere in Colorado that says, no, upon demand, when a customer brings in gold and silver must be tendered as change. Then you better bring it before the judge, because the jury's just going to say, that's about the most ridiculous nonsense we ever heard.
Okay, but I think he specified in his response to them that he would take X amount of dollars in gold and silver.
And they just said, we don't have it. You can't get something from me that I don't have.
I don't think they responded back yet or something.
Well, what I'm saying is, they're just then like, look, it's like he could say, I want $5,000 of unicorn diamonds. You know, like, what the hell's a unicorn diamond? What the hell is this gold and silver? What's this nonsense he's talking about? We don't operate in gold and silver. We operate
in but then they can come back with a counteroffer and say, we won't pay you with gold and silver, but we'll pay you with this.
What I don't understand is why they even talking to this. What I don't understand is why they even talking to this guy at all. They haven't done anything wrong yet to this guy. What have they done wrong? They just said, look, you know, the property, the other guy who used to own this house, Sam, didn't pay the bank. Sam abandoned the property. You're still occupying it? That's lovely. That's wonderful. Hey, you know what? We'll help you out. We'll relocate you. We'll toss you $5,000 and we'll relocate you to another location. But you know what? We don't really want to argue with you in court. Technically, you know and I know this is not your house. You're going to lose in court. No judge and no jury in the world is going to let you just occupy somebody's abandoned building. You know that's not how we roll in Colorado. So here, we'll give you $5,000 to help relocate you. That's the best we could do. I mean, it sounds it sounds nice what the bank is doing so far. It's never his house. It wasn't his house. It was somebody else's house, and he just decided to occupy it because the other guy decided to leave. So, like I said, this isn't like a homeowner. It's like, are you the homeowner? No. Did you ever own it? No. I just occupy it. Oh, well, the guy you used to own it.
The adverse possessor.
Okay, great. So this guy, I said, did you have a rental agreement with the other guy? No. Well, if you had a rental agreement, well, then they'd actually have to get a court order where it says not only is the owner to be kicked out, now the rental owner is to be kicked out. You know, that the renter is now to be kicked out. But
in order to take a property by adverse possession, you cannot be the former owner. You have to be a stranger to the property and just occupy it.
Like a tenant or a rental.
No, you just occupy it. If you were an illegal alien and you went into a vacant house up there in Riverside here, where there are a lot of them, and you take up stakes, man. You start doing improvements on the property. They're going to have a hell of a time getting you out. It's called adverse possession.
Yeah, well, that's homesteading in California, and I know homesteading in California is pretty. They allow that. But what I'm trying to say is, other places don't allow homesteading. Other people,
no, it's not really homesteading. Well, it's a combination of homesteading, but it's taking over a property by adverse possession. It belonged to someone else. They got foreclosed on. Now the bank owns it, or whoever. And did the foreclosure. And you go in and nobody actually owns it because they aren't allowed to own property, I guess, or whatever the deal is.
Let's just say nobody. Say no bank claims it. Say nobody claims it. No man, no woman, no bank, no mortgage company comes and claims the abandoned home. They just don't want to be held liable for the filth, or mowing it, or maintaining it, or paying the county property taxes, which is probably astronomical. So now somebody has this adverse possession of the house. Great, lovely. If I was the county, I'd want everybody to take possession of abandoned buildings because now we're going to charge them county property taxes. Who are we going to send the county property tax to?
Well, that would be okay because if you're going to be living there and you're going to use the services of the county, I guess that would be.
How is the county?
I don't know.
Right, that's what I'm saying. How is the county? The county's going to knock on the door and say, hey, you know what? We've been providing services, water and electric and power to this building. Who's going to pay the bills? And we're going to shut it off. Okay, and then we're going to shut this off, and now they're going to say, well, you're occupying a house with no water, no lights, and no...
yeah, but they can always bring in solar and dig a well, you know.
Well, that's what the gang in Chicago tried to do. He said, you know, his house was foreclosed on. So he had no power, no water, no sewage coming into the place. So the city of Chicago, Cook County, charged him $1,000 a day. So the last I heard, he was up to $400,000 in fines because it was 400 days. Now, obviously, they're not going to be able to collect blood from a stone. The county, they're not going to be able to.
But the county doesn't. I mean, here in L.A. County, we have the DWP, which we pay separately. It's not like we're, you know, a tax bill. It's a utility bill.
But what I'm saying is...
You pay for trash pickup, and if
Right.
a house catches on fire, the fire department and the police department will show up if you call them, you know, and stuff like that.
What I'm trying to say is, if the way he lives in Chicago, if I had a next door neighbor, he had no lights, no running water, no sewage. He's running a generator 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do you really want to live next to some guy who's got no running water, no sewage, and you know he's pooping and you know he's peeing somewhere, and you know he's got a generator going 24 hours, 7 days a week, and you know this thing is beyond annoying? How long do you want to put up with this? You're going to beg the county, get this bum the hell out of here, because he's driving everybody in the neighborhood nuts.
Well, but what if he doesn't have a generator? What if he decides to put up solar panels? And,
Okay.
you know...
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Then first, if somebody, you said it's like a homeless person and they're moving into and squatting into a shelter like this guy, he didn't say that, you know, he's got running water. He didn't say that he's paying the bills. He didn't say he's got lights. I'm trying to say 90% of the people who squat don't have money. If they had money, they'd go rent a house or they'd go rent an apartment. Obviously, if they're squatting in someplace else, they don't have running water, electricity, or sewage. And then certainly not paying county taxes because there's no record of them existing on that property. So they're getting all the community services without putting into the community. So like I said, this is always a delicate balance between when these people become a nuisance and a blight on your neighborhood, or when you just say, hey, let's do the good Christian thing and we'll let all our property values go down so all these Mexican squatters can come in. Now, would you want to live in that kind of neighborhood, or do you want to try to keep up standards so your house value don't go down?
Yeah,
You know, do you want to do, right, it's a delicate balance. Like I said, I don't know who this guy's neighbors are. I don't know if he got the most beautiful
But he
house.
might be on a property that's 20 miles away from any neighbors. You know, maybe nobody can see him. Who knows?
All right. Or he lives on a property that's worth $1.2 million, and they could sell it at auction the next day. Maybe this guy's got grass growing a foot tall because he can't afford a lawnmower, and he's an agrarian or whatever they call these guys who hug trees all day. Maybe he doesn't want to mow the lawn because the butterflies will be killed. I mean, I don't know what this guy's got going on over there. I don't know if he takes his own poop and puts it on the front lawn because it's a great source of fertilizer.
Okay.
And
all right.
You know what? Maybe he's got a garden growing in the front of his house. Maybe he's got tomatoes and corn. You know, where his front lawn.
That's enough. It's getting
old. Right. It could get silly. I don't know what this neighbors are up against. I don't know what these people are doing. They're really telling us their side of the story.
All right. So listen to me. What if you have IRS issues?
IRS issues are easy.
Are you tired yet, or what?
Well, no, an IRS issue, all you got to do is, if you
For
went
2 hours and 33 minutes into this call, do you want to continue?
Well, all an IRS, well, that's fine, because like I said, all an IRS issue is a notice of rescission. That's like I tried to explain earlier. All you just say is, I want to take whatever contract, whatever 10W-W4 form, W-2 form, whatever W-4 form, whatever form I filled out, I want to go back to the time before I signed into this agreement with you people, and I want to go back to that. I don't want to be held any more liable to the agreement that I made back on April 15th and last year or 20 years ago.
Okay, so and who do you send that to?
I would just send it to the Department of Treasury, the IRS. I'd just say, you know, whatever is the Department of Treasury, it oversees the IRS. I mean, I'd send a couple of them out and just see who's going to write back to you. I mean, because honestly, the IRS is just a contracting company for the Department of Treasury. So we could basically just say the Department of Treasury of the United States, you have a contractor called the IRS. And I entered into a contract with one of your contractors, and I no longer want to be bound and held liable to the contract.
Okay, but what if you done that, okay, and years have gone and you haven't paid and you haven't filed, and now you were so afraid that you hired this agency, you know, that you hear about them, you know, if you owe $50,000, we'll get you down to $5,000, and, you know, those places? What if you go ahead and hire one of those places and you're paying them through the nose every month? Life change. Do you want to come on the call and ask your questions?
You just had to do it yourself. You just had to do it yourself. You just had to write a letter to them. All you had to say is, you know, my best under my word. I give you, you know, my word. In good faith and under best effort, the best I could do was pay $15 a month until I could catch up on the debt. But I no longer want to contract with you. So thank you that maybe we entered into an agreement back on April 15th. I no longer want to be held liable to that contract. You know, I want to be, you know, I don't want you to, bind me to this contract. One time I thought it was a benefit, but at this time I realize it's becoming quite a burden on in my person, and I want to be let alone. Just something that simple. Nobody could bind you to something. If you signed a contract with a government agency, you signed a contract with a public servant. When you signed a contract with, say, the public servant is your employee, like your maid or your butler. If you're no longer happy with the service of your maid or butler, you're going to fire them. You're going to write them a nice letter and say, look, your services are no longer required. At one time ago, it was a great benefit to bring you into my life, bring you into my home, bring you into my jurisdiction. But you know what? Actually, right now, you're actually causing more. You're not worth more than you're causing me too much harm. I'm going to have to show you the door, and I'm going to have to ask you to let me alone. And that's it. And they can't force their way back into the jurisdiction. They can't force their way back into the house. You gave them fair warning at one time this was a great benefit, and now I realize, it's not. That's all you're doing. And you wait for them to respond. And what are they going to respond? No, I'm going to force you and compel you to perform under this contract. I said, wait a second. Who is the master and who is the slave? Who is...
Right.
Then
who's the public servant?
Right, who's the public servant here and who's the man? Oh, do you think I'm not a man? Who do you think you were talking to? Do you think you were talking to Social Security number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Is that what you were talking to? No, I'm not a corporation. I'm not a Social Security number. That's your Social Security number. I'm a man. I just use the Social Security times for my benefit. If you want your Social Security number back, I'll give you back your Social Security number and I'll make one of my own. I don't need yours. I'll create my own.
Let's see something here. Hold on a second. Life change, are you,
I'm trying. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Fantastic.
Do you have a question? Are you on the phone or you want to talk to what?
I'm on the phone.
Oh, all right, good.
On speaker. I can put it on the Bluetooth if you prefer that.
I don't know, try that. Let's see. It sounds real tinny.
Okay. Let me try turning that one off.
It sounds okay. Just use what you're using. It's all right.
Okay. Well, Angela, as you well know, the IRS has been after me. Oh, I stopped filing in 95. I'll try to make this quick and clean. Stopped filing in 95. They came after me in 2008, telling me that I hadn't filed in for 2, 3, and 4. I kind of ignored the whole thing. I was under a lot of stress and blah, blah, blah. Time goes on till around November or December, actually, of last year. All of a sudden, I'm given a notice to come into the office and bring my records, a subpoena or whatever it's called. And I, of course, didn't go to the subpoena. I simply sent a letter demanding verification and validation of the debt because I know that they were telling me that I owed $144,000 for those 3 years. Now, I know that during that time period I was making in the vicinity of, well, they have me listed for $3,700 for 2003. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we could hear you, but like I said, the big thing is, like I said, I can tell you right now, nobody said that you did anything. Nobody said. You believe that you read a piece of paper, and you believe that piece of paper read to you. Okay. All I say to these people all the time is, like my mom works for the IRS, and that's what my mom kept telling me a million times. Nobody at the IRS is ever going to tell you anything. You're going to believe you read something on a piece of paper, and you're either going to admit to deny it. And all you have to say is that, all you have to do is, this is so simple. I tell you, this is very simple. Karl, all you have to do is to any IRS agent that you meet at any hearing or meeting or audit, say, ma'am, how much do I owe? $115.92. Ma'am, put it in writing, give me a bill, and sign it. She'll leave you alone forever.
They're taking my veterans benefits, my veterans food.
That's all you have to do. You go to them and say, who is taking this? Oh, the IRS is taking this. Who wants to represent the IRS? Who wants to represent the IRS here? And you say, okay, Bob does. Bob, put it in writing that you're going to take this from me. Put it in writing and sign it because I owe this debt. He won't put it in writing.
They don't bother. They just take the money. I've been trying to deal with this for about a year now. They're not answering me at all.
Where did they take the money from? Where in your house did they come in and take your money out of? They kick in your door, they go into the mattress, where they grab your money from?
From the bank.
Okay, what? Okay, what bank? Your bank, a credit union, a bank that's under their control?
It's a credit union. He's got automatic deposit, right?
Okay, so is there some reason why he doesn't just say, I want a check and I want to go get cash at a check cashing place and avoid these banks altogether?
Well, that was what I said.
Yeah, is there a reason why they can't give him a check and then he just goes handles his own business on his own like everybody did up until 3 years ago? There's no reason why you can't just tell your employer, just give me the check.
Well, it's not an employer, it's the VA.
The VA, Veterans Administration, you mean like he's getting a check from the Veterans Administration, tell him to mail it directly to him.
That's what I told him, right? Oh, he got off the phone, or he got disconnected.
That's what I tell him to do, just sell it, mail a check directly to him. And like I said, anytime anybody wants to interfere with your benefits, you have to see who's providing those benefits in the first place. Like I said, if the United States of America is providing the benefits to the VA division, and then the United States of America is the one who's going to be suing you in the IRS court, you don't see IRS versus Ernst Schiff. It's the United States of America versus Ernst Schiff. And all Ernst Schiff had to say is if he wasn't the plaintiff, which he was, all he had to do was just say, United States of America versus Ernst Schiff, good. I wanted the United States of America to take the stand. And I want the United States to speak their claim. I want them to make the record. And only the plaintiff has the vocal cords to create the record. Until then, everything's just a file. I wanted a record of this. Record this. Somebody's got to utter it in open court. That's all I ever say to people, all you got to do. Bring the government to the court. Make the government speak out loud and say, how do I owe the debt? I got the right to hear my charge, and I got the right to cross-examine my accuser. So, make the charge. So the attorney won't do it. It's like, the attorney, now take the witness stand. The attorney will be like, I'm not taking no damn witness stand. The agent for the IRS, like my mom. You say, tell my mom, take the witness stand. Tell me in court that I owe $119,052. She'll say, I'm not saying a damn thing. Why? She said, I don't know how that before. I don't know what's true or not true. I just work here. How the hell do I know what you mean? I wasn't with you 365, 24/7. I don't have the chain of custody of your life and your purse. How do I know what you got in there? How do I know where you got it from? I don't know anything. I'm just taking a guess by what you're telling me. So like I said, that's all you have to do. You move them into court and say, move your case against me. Prove that I owe you anything. Prove I owe the United States. Prove I owe Sears. Prove I owe Macy's. Prove I owe Visa. Prove anything. Prove it. I'm the defendant. I thought the burden of proof was on you. Prove it. Prove it. Somebody take the stand and prove it. Well, look at all this paper. Who created that paper? I don't know. Are you going to testify to any of that? Like I said, thank God my mom worked for the IRS. Well, I wouldn't know this nonsense. I wouldn't know that she'd be like, I can't sign anything.
He says that he's done that, and the IRS sends back letters that are saying they will not respond to frivolous arguments.
It's not a frivolous argument. You just have to say, very simple, are you making a claim that I owe a debt? Yes or no? That's what you have to write. I did listen to the show that I did back in August. This guy, like I said, had a second-grade education. Did you hear that call? Were you listening to me that night?
Yeah,
I said he was a second-grade, and I mean, three simple things. And what's funny is he followed it up a month later, and he said the state of Indiana did not appear in court for his child support case. I said, when in God's name have you ever heard the state not appear in a child support case against a guy with a second-grade education without an attorney? They didn't appear. They just said, forget it. Just let it drop. We're not going to prosecute this guy for failing to pay child support. They were going to give him 5 years in jail because he didn't pay. That's how Indiana rolls. His friend just came out of jail for 4.5 years because he didn't pay for 4.5 years. He didn't pay for 5. He said, I'm going to be gone for 5 years. Bye-bye, boys. And then he said to me, hey, what can I do? I said, tell him the best you could do is $30, $1 a day. And then just say, if anybody wants to dispute that that's the best he can do, let him take the witness stand and let them make their claim that I owe a debt to anybody or anything. And the prosecutor's like, when he got the letter, the judge just like, oh boy, this is good. I haven't seen something like this in 20 years. That's right, because all I'm doing is saying the state of Indiana is going to have to take the witness stand, and you, prosecutor, if you're saying I owe a debt to the state of Indiana, you're going to have to take the witness stand, and you're going to have to press the claim. And you're going to be held liable, and you better hope that you're dead on. Because if you're not dead on, whatever you're hoping to me, that's what's going to happen to you. You're going to go to jail for 5 years. So the prosecuting attorney's like, the younger guy asked the older guy, like, you got to answer these 3 questions? And the older guy said, we'll soon find out. So you guys are just doing speculation because you're not writing the letters to the courts, or you're not writing the letters to the prosecutors properly. You're using all this crazy nonsense. Like I read the first letter the first thing I opened up the call with tonight was this letter that the guy said, "Finally, Karl, I'm getting yours very truly yours from the secretary. This is from Quebec." And then the other guy was from Indiana, and the other guy was from Illinois, saying, "Karl, if you could hold these people, if you write them a letter, talking man to man, they will answer you as a man. And then they will show you that, yes, you got me. I work for you. You're right. I do. You got me. You caught me. Finally. We finally got a man." That's basically what the judge was saying. We got this guy in Indiana. He has a second-grade education. Half his, nobody knows who he is. Half his teeth are missing from the side of his face. This guy's like 5 foot tall. He's got red hair. He's got a second-grade education. He's a little tiny man. You know, he drives a moped. The state of Indiana didn't bother appearing in 30 days like they said. They said, well, you know, he put some 3 questions before us and before the court, and there's some, we're going to need some time to study these questions. These questions were idiotic. The questions were like, you claim I owe a debt. Is there anything that I owe? Who do I owe the debt to? Is there anything you take in lieu of cash? Something simple like that. Just, simple 3 questions. And the state says we're going to require 30 days to answer these questions. So in 30 days they had to redo the retrial. They had the trial again for his sentencing, and the state didn't appeal. So she's stuck with the $30 a month he's paying now. And I told him, I said, don't just pay the $30. I said, pay $30 and then send another check out for $1.04 or $1.07 or $3.17 because you're acting under your best effort in good faith. He says, why would I want to give them more than just the $30? I said, well, send them an extra nickel, send them an extra $5, send them an extra 53 cents, send them an extra $53, send them whatever you can. Because one day, your moped might get hit by a bus, and you'll come up with $1.27 payment that month. So instead of coming all the way back into court because you failed to pay the $30, you can say, look, you're going to have to accept this $1.37 at this time. Because I always act in good faith, and I always show you my best efforts, and my record precedes me, and I'm a good. I got good credit with you folks now because I've built up a line of credit to show you that not only will I pay you the $30, but I'll pay more if I can. If I have it, I'll pay it. When I win the lottery, I'll pay it all off in one shot.
So, Karl, do you ask them to respond back by affidavit?
Who to respond back?
Fine, if you write a letter to the prosecutor as Bob or Bill or whatever.
Let me get affidavit cleared up once and for all. An affidavit is basically nothing. It's basically a chicken tap dancing on a piece of paper. And all an affidavit means is that one day, possibly, a man may have to appear in an open court, and he might have to utter this statement on this piece of paper into an open form. But it doesn't mean anything that's on here is true until it's spoken in open court. So you could just BS like crazy in an affidavit, because I've seen people who have a credit card affidavits come to them from Visa. I've seen like Wells Fargo sending them for foreclosure.
Okay, how about under penalty, sign it under penalties of perjury?
That's because perjury means once you come into court and utter it, that would be perjury. It's not perjury until you speak in open court.
Okay, so when you sign a document and you sign it under penalties of perjury.
Well, that's right. When I get to court, then I know the rules. But until I get to court, I'm going to BS you all I can to scare the crap out of you.
Right.
So the whole trick is to get me into open court to make me say any of this nonsense under the paper is true, and that's the whole trick. Is you got to get them into an open court because they all know it's under the penalty of perjury, and nobody in their right mind. Oh, they'll throw you 10,000 pages of threatening letters. It's like good, yeah, whoopee-doo. Here's another affidavit. Whoopee-doo, whoopee-doo. Who's going to utter this in open court? Nobody. So why are you wasting your ink and your paper? Because you know me. I'm going to demand that you appear in open court and testify to any of this nonsense. Does anybody know that the computer might have made a mistake on a decimal point? Because like I said to my mom said to me, if you're off by 1 penny is just as bad as being off by $1 million. So it doesn't matter if you're off by 1 penny or $1 million. If you're claiming something that is more than is due, so like the IRS or anybody, a man making a claim against another man, if you make a claim that is not true, like I always tell people, if you don't want to read the book, go watch The Merchant of Venice. And that's how the guy, or the prince, didn't have the Jewish guy to pound of his flesh, because the law said, if this Jewish guy takes 1 gram, 1 hair, 1 sliver more than 1 pound of flesh, he's to be executed. Because you can only claim what is due. So they gave the Jewish guy fair warning. The Shylock guy, fair warning. They said, look, you can have your pound of flesh, you can hold the prince to the contract, but we're giving you fair warning. If you take 1 hair, 1 gram, 1 ounce, 1 little smidgen, more than 1 pound, when we put it on that scale, it's going to cost you your head. Now, go get your pound of flesh, Shylock. And that's the same rules to the IRS. Everything is true. We still base our stuff on this common belief. You can't claim more than what is due. And if you certainly claim more than is due, and you're wrong, it's off with your head. So the IRS can't be off by a penny, by a farthing. They can't be off by a fraction. They better be dead on. And nobody...
They never are, so...
Right, and nobody's going to put their neck out on the line for the IRS. They're going to say, hey, look, I just work here. I'm not signing any of this. How the hell do I know?
Okay, you know what? Life Change came back on. He got disconnected before. Did you want to follow up with anything?
Well, I'm really not sure that it's going to go anywhere because I'm not quite understanding what Karl would suggest me doing. Everything I've not directly dealt with the IRS agent other than sending him that demand for verification and validation of the debt, and he sent back the letter.
You don't send anything. You don't send anything to an agent. You send it.
Look, it's already been done. Let's not talk about what shouldn't have happened. Let's talk about what I'm saying is.
What I'm saying is, at this point, from this point forward, any communication you make, you must send it to a man. You must send it to a woman. It said, I, a man, whatever your name is, Bob.
Okay.
Believe that you, Susie, who acts as an IRS agent, is making a claim that I owe a debt to the IRS. That's all you got to say. That's the whole entire letter right there. And Susie is going to say, I'm not claiming anything. I'm not saying you owe anything to anybody. I said, well, then who is? Well, the IRS is saying it. Oh, good. So the IRS is going to appear in open court and testify to that?
I can't even get them to tell me what I supposedly made in 2002. They said, well, you can't find those numbers, but you still have to pay.
That's right, because they can't tell you, because nobody in their right mind could possibly, like told you what my mom said, nobody in the IRS could ever make a claim that you owe a debt to anybody. You have to confess. They're waiting for you to confess.
They're not waiting. They just take my money. They just take my Social Security.
Okay, now
I have not agreed to that at all. I have never agreed to it.
Okay, so everybody knows the Social Security is just a subcontractor for the IRS.
Okay.
Okay, so they're taking something that they claim is a government benefit away from you.
Correct.
Okay, because you don't want to be a member of their little family or their little group, so they're going to punish you.
More or less. If I'm not willing to step up and say that I in fact owe this debt, then they're just going to take it from me anyway. They started off with $144,000. They've taken about $8,000, $9,000 from me, and now I owe $88,000. So the numbers are just being pulled out of their ass somehow.
Yeah, okay, because if you actually want to go back and look at any of these IRS cases against Social Security, it goes way back to 1964. The United States Supreme Court ruled many times that the United States government, the United States Supreme Court, has no control over what the IRS or the Social Security agencies do. They are not under the control of the courts. They're not under the control of the United States government. They're independent.
Okay.
Karl, we're losing you, honey. Karl?
Yeah, I can hear you, right?
I can't hear you. I can barely hear you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, wait, maybe it's my volume.
Yeah, I hear you, okay. Yeah, I hear you, okay.
It's my volume button. I must have been leaning on it. Sorry. Okay,
that's
go ahead.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, it's like saying State Farm doesn't want to pay on a claim because they say that you owe the other Geico, which is an umbrella company of theirs, money. So it's within the same division. It's within the same corporation. So if they're smart, the government did that. The government said, okay, we'll let the IRS be in control of the VA. We'll let them also be in control. They do Obamacare now. You know that. Everybody who does all the accounting, it goes to the IRS. The IRS is the contractor for Obamacare. So obviously, if you don't pay your taxes, they're going to say, well, maybe we're not going to give you a hip replacement until you start paying your taxes, until you start paying for Obamacare, paying your fair share.
I never made the money in the first place. So how can there be a tax on money that was never made?
If I might interrupt you,
you're going to have to go. You're going to have to. Then you're going to have to petition them. You're going to have to be the plaintiff, and they're going to have to be the defendant. And you're going to have to go into their
In what court? Fine. In what court? Tax court?
Their court. Their tax court.
What is it? Tax court? Okay. That's at least I'm getting somewhere here.
You're going to have to go into their court under their rules. You're going before the Queen of Hearts, and you're going to have to try to tell the Queen of Hearts she's playing croquet, in a wrong way, that you're supposed to be playing it this way. I don't know how in the world you're going to possibly convince those people that they're doing you wrong in their court. They're going to back each other up to the hilt. But then what am I supposed to do here, Karl? Just accept the fact that they're going to take my Social Security and my they want my disability money too. It's not yours. How is it yours?
Hey, fellas, if I might interrupt here. So when they sent him a notice of lien or levy, they quoted Title 26, Section 6331, and it starts with paragraph B on the back of the notice. To read paragraph A and send them paragraph A. Send it to the Social Security Department, send it to the Department of the VA, and send it to the Internal Revenue Service. It says you have to be a government employee for them to do that. Okay? They can't do what they're doing because you're not a government employee.
Well, then how did you get issued the number if you're not a government entity?
That's what the thing that has been done.
If you're not under the control of the United States government, how did you get a Social Security number?
You can volunteer to get it.
Okay, so a Mexican could go get a United States Social Security number?
Yes, can.
Yep, yeah, sure can.
Right, so when they get that, when they enter into a contract, what makes you think that if they don't like the terms and the conditions of the person who wrote the contract, that they have any beef about anything?
Well, what they can do to get away from that contract, they can send in a 521 form.
Okay, so they're no longer have a Social Security number. How are they going to claim benefits then when they're no longer part of the group?
Well, that's true. But
that's right. He's not going to get any. He's not going to get any.
Let's go back to the tax.
Nobody told him he had to put into Social Security, did they?
Let's go back to the tax thing.
Nobody told him.
Okay, wait a minute. Now, nobody can hear anything when there's two people talking at one time.
Let me finish.
So, gentlemen, please, one at a time.
What he's got to do is put in a letter stating he's not a government employee and they cannot take his funds under Section 6331 unless they meet Paragraph A. Paragraph A, you've got to be an officer of government or a government employee. Now, they will stop taking the money. Also,
okay.
He asked them the question, they have on their paper Department of Treasury. Which Department of Treasury do they represent? That of Puerto Rico or that of the United States? They won't answer that question.
Okay, very simple thing that me to ask you is, when has this ever worked for anybody?
It's worked for my sister. Thank you.
Okay, it worked for your sister. Okay, and you could show us some sort of proof of these letters and put it on Interest website so everybody can just follow along.
Well, they can drill their own letter, but it hasn't worked.
No, this is not how we work here. When I show people the letters, I've given them to Angela. Angela puts them on her website, and people can verify that what I'm saying is true. They'll call me a fraudster.
Well, I'm just stating that it's true, and they
okay,
I know a lot of people that have done that, and it didn't mean squat. They still kept taking their money. You can't argue their code with them. You can't. Right. They don't abide by it.
Look at Erwin Schiff. He was the best code decipher this world has ever seen. There'll never be another Erwin Schiff, God bless him. He's a great man. You can't beat him in their own game. Right, but you can't beat them at their own game. It's their code. The word you said the word unless. The word unless is like if. It's their loophole. They put the word unless they can prove that you're a federal employee. Okay, well, whatever it was, the other stuff. I was just looking for a key word like if or unless, and you said unless. They can't take you unless.
You have to tell them what to do. You can't ask them.
What I'm saying is you're talking to a spoon. You're talking to an inanimate object. You're not talking to another man who you can hold liable. You're talking to a freaking spoon.
Right, well, you have to talk to them, in their, personal capacity.
Right, and the personal, like the other guy said from Colorado, he said the judge said you didn't serve them in their personal capacity. You have to make them personally aware that they've done wrong, or the corporation that they're in charge of has done wrong. The better thing to do is write to Barack Obama and say, hey, your Department of Treasury, which is under your control, you guys say has a program called Social Security, and Social Security I paid into. Is there some reason why that I'm not getting my money back? Something simple like that. Start off with simple things. Don't go up to them with code. Say, I'm a man and I'm caused harm. What are you going to do about it?
That's right. That's what I say.
Because if you want to do what Warren Schiff did, I mean, great man, spent tens of thousands of hours studying this stuff, and they just laughed at him.
Yeah.
He was dead on. Big deal. They don't care. Dude, you're reading our book. We don't care. You're not part of the team. You're not going to get anywhere, buddy. You're just wasting your time. Why don't you just say, hey, man, who here at the IRS, like I said, with the United States of America, I went down to Evansville with that man, and we talked to the IRS investigator and the attorney down there, and I asked him a very simple question. Is the United States of America going to appear in court, and is the United States going to show any impact statement of any harm caused by this man not paying said income taxes? There has to be an impact statement. Show me, because I did not do this, the repercussions and the causes and the chain of effects that this led to cause you harm and pain or suffering or anything else you want to claim. Is there anything? Because I didn't do this, what happened? Well, you didn't pay taxes. Okay, great. What happened? Well, nothing. It's just like this guy saying, okay, they sent me letters. Okay, so what happened? Well, they sent me letters, and I don't like letters, and I'm going to sue them for 600,000 tons of silver and gold. Okay, great.
All right, but in Life Changes case, they've been taking the money. They started withholding.
Yeah, but that's the only thing bad is because, like I said, it's like, say, you entered into a contract with Social Security, or you entered into a contract with the IRS, or you entered into a contract with the devil. You knew what was going to happen. You knew that, you were giving these people your money.
Okay, so should he do the rescission letter?
Yeah, I would do a rescission and say, I no longer want anything to do with you people, and I'm sorry I entered into a contract and agreeing with you people, but like to say that, saying that you're going, it's like, look at all these little old ladies who invested in General Motors. And they said that was the best stock on the planet and went up like $1 a year for 100 years. And all these little old ladies invested all their pensions into General Motors. So that whatever, in 2003, 2004, or whatever it was, 2008, General Motors went out of business. All the ladies lost their whole entire pensions. Every damn dime they put into General Motors was wiped off the books in 10 seconds. Gone. They couldn't collect a freaking dime on it. What happens? General Motors opens up the next day for business. They sell $10 billion worth of stocks. The old ladies who invested in General Motors didn't get a dime. It's not fair. But what it is, you gave somebody else your money and said, well, I hope when I'm 65 or 70 you give it back to me. And then, oh, yeah, no problem.
I'm hoping you won't rip me off.
we hope you don't find a loophole because you're wearing three-piece suits and ties and driving Maseratis. But I know you did that from, working hard. You wouldn't embezzle any money. You wouldn't figure out loopholes how to steal a little old lady's money, would you? Oh, no, we won't do that to you, ma'am. We won't do that to Vietnam vets. We won't do that. You're good guys, people. Trust us. Give us your money, and we'll invest it wisely. And then when you get that age and you realize, oh, my God, it's all gone, what do they do? They're going to make so many loopholes.
Let me ask you this. Who does he write the rescission letter to?
At what point? Like, if
you got to find out who the agent is in their personal capacity.
Well, if somebody's sending you something from the IRS, and you're not getting a communication from the IRS, obviously you're going to go to the Department of Treasury, because just look for the name on a dollar bill and find out who's the head of the Department of Treasury, and said, hey.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Both of them?
No, just the Department of Treasury, the person in charge of the Department of Treasury, and just say, hey, you got a contracting agency called the IRS. They're making a claim I owe a debt to the United States. Is this true? Something simple like that. Just all like that.
I love that simplicity. That is just so cool.
Yeah,
and then and then what? You've got 21 days to respond, or what? Or do you just?
Like I said, every person that we've sent this to, every man that we've sent this to, a woman, and that, as they said, we've got your letter today. We're responding to you today. None of this, and they always say, very truly yours. And it's a pattern now. Quebec said it, Indiana said it, and Illinois said that. I got the letters from all three people with them saying, very truly yours.
How do they otherwise respond if it's not very true, or if you address them as a corporate?
Yeah, the man said that the one guy said to him, I'll open up the thing again. It says, "We've got your correspondence, and we're going, take it into consideration," or some nonsense like that. I'll actually get what he said 2 answers that he got in the past couple of years. He said, but boy, he said, I sent a letter to the attorney of the government of Quebec. I don't know, he didn't give me too much information on it. I'll put the man on the phone. But he said, very truly yours, quote unquote. And like I said, that's the whole trick, is when you hold them as a man and as your servant, they know what you're doing, and they have, I guarantee, there's a whole, like I said, there's a whole different style in. And so, like I said, it says.
There's one from the operations manager, and they signed it, sincerely yours.
Right. Well, like I said, what you want to get is like a very truly, well, like yours, yeah, sincerely yours, like I'm yours, right? And I said, do you think the guy's just getting sweet on you? Do you think he's just, a Nancy boy? He's like, and the guy said, we both know, not a freaking chance that that's occurring. He says, upon further review, he stated that the letter with, I wish to acknowledge your letter of, and then he says, while in the past, then he said, any reply from any government agent, position wrote regarding your correspondence, or we acknowledge receipt of your correspondence. So he said the Secretary of State wrote back, or Quebec says, I wish to acknowledge your letter. So it's like, I wish. See, only man can make a wish. Mm-hmm. And when he's talking, he's like, he doesn't say we acknowledge receipt of your correspondence. He says, I. So you see what I'm saying? When only a man can say I. Only a man stands in the capacity of an I. He's not speaking in the government official. He says, I wish to acknowledge. Not we acknowledge. I wish to acknowledge. So now there's a communication going on between a man and another man. And this is what you're trying to do. You're trying to get them to strip themselves of their immunity. It's like, you know what? You're causing harm. And like I always say to people, thank God, the easiest one for all of us to understand is the Nuremberg trials, where the German officers and military people said, look, we had this piece of paper. See, this piece of paper says, round up all the Jewish women and children and put a bullet in their head. And then in the trials they said, look, first of all, you're a man, and that's another man, and that's a woman, that's a child. Above all else, regardless of uniforms, we're all naked apes. You don't cause harm to another man. Now, what compelled you to cause harm to another man?
I resent that. I'm not a naked ape.
What I'm trying to say is, we can strip ourselves down to the basic element, and we're still a man and another man, regardless of what uniform we're wearing.
Right.
So just because we don't look like you doesn't give you the right to cause me harm. Now, there's certain reasons why you could cause me harm. If you want to preserve your life, if you think it's necessary and proper that this man's standing on my throat, I have to take immediate, direct action. Now, why did you have to kill this woman and baby? Well, eventually they might grow up and they might pick up a gun and they might turn and use it against us. But that's conjecture and speculation. They might not. You can't just kill somebody because you think maybe in the future he might commit a crime against you. He might do you wrong. You can't do that. You have to wait for the wrong before you can carry out a judgment or a sentence on somebody. So they executed all those German soldiers and officers for just rounding up people and shooting them willy-nilly because they had a piece of paper. So they understood that those Nuremberg trials are the best example I could give anybody. Just because they have a piece of paper, just because they're cloaked in a uniform or they got a badge, doesn't mean they have the right to just treat you like you're not another man. So what you're doing, especially these educated people, like these lawyers and judges, you're holding them in the capacity of a man on another man, and they poop a pickle because they say, holy Jesus, this guy knows what he's doing. He's stripping me of my sovereignty.
All right. Life change, is that enough for you, or do you need more?
I don't know. Am I supposed to be writing this to the actual agent that is enforcing this against me, or am I supposed to try to go over his head and go direct?
What I always say to people, it's good if you want to send it to the agent that's doing this, that's originally initiating contact with you, because you actually got their name and you're making contact with them. Put it at the bottom right-hand corner. The CC, do that, boss, find out the supervisor, find out the Department of Treasury guy, find out who's the head of the Department of Treasury, and just do that. Put where they notice that you CC'd this to everybody, and you sent 4 communications out. Not just to them so they could blow you off, but they might shake their pants a little bit and say, holy God, this guy's going to Timothy Geithner. I don't know if Timothy Geithner is still the head of
gotcha. He's not, but yeah.
But you see what I'm saying? That's what I do when I write letters to the guy for the IRS. I send it to the IRS investigator, and then I send it to the prosecuting attorney that was going against him. I send it to his public defender, and obviously you want to send one to the court clerks, so they put it in a file.
Okay, we got a couple of people waiting in line, so.
Okay, I'll just say, there is no court at this point in time. I've never gone to court on this at all. It's just, they're taking the money, and...
Right, but me and Angela are trying to tell you, if you take them into their court, you're going to get slaughtered. Look at Irvin.
Yeah, that's what I would think. Yeah, I would think so, too. Okay, go on to somebody else.
You got to try to settle it. You got to try to settle it with the people, and if you believe that you owe them a debt, which, like I told the other guy, you know, look, we could have went out to the state of Indiana for child support. But I'm telling you, if he went to a trial by jury, he would have went to jail. Because nobody in the jury would have let this guy, given this guy a pass for not paying tens of thousands of dollars for 5 years. The jury would have thrown him in jail. Yeah. So I said to them, no, you don't want to take this in front of a jury. You want to take this in front of the man with the black robe. You're going to make him laugh his ass off because you're actually you're prosecuting the prosecutor. You're flipping the table in this courtroom, and the judge is witnessing it. That you took it from a statute code, an Indiana Code 1234, subsection 23, that you must pay child support if ordered. You flipped it around into a court of record, into a common law, and saying, oh, good, I got the right to cross-examine my accuser. Habeas corpus has not been suspended as this date has it. So now I want that prosecutor to take the stand, and I want him to utter for the record that I owe X amount of dollars, and it better be dead on.
So are you saying that I should take this into another court?
Well, what I'm saying is, I didn't use fancy words because the guy only had a second or third grade education. So obviously, I didn't use habeas corpus because I couldn't explain to the guy the rules of habeas corpus. So all I'm trying to say is, what you're going to have to do is, the only thing bad about the IRS and everything is you are always when the IRS goes there, when the tax court, you are always the prosecutor. So this is what, like I said, I don't think Mr. Hearn understood what was going on here. The IRS never had to say anything, because when you're a defendant like O.J. Simpson, you don't have to prove anything. You don't have to open your mouth. You don't have to do a damn thing when you're the defendant. You have to prove your case. So now you're going to have to prove your case to an administrating hearing officer. Now, how's this guy going to react to you, and your beliefs? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You're gambling. So to me, it's better to make a settlement with these people on the side and say, look, I'll be more than glad to pay my tax with you, and the best I could do is, like I said to the one guy, I said, what's the best you could do? He said $1 a month. He's $1 a day. And then the other lady who owed tens of thousands of dollars to a hospital for her daughter having surgery, she owed tens of thousands. They were going to garnish her paycheck. They were going to do a warrant in debt and take the possessions out of her mobile home, and they were going to garnish her paycheck. And I said, what's the best you could do at the end of the month? And she said, $5. I said, $5? I said, I never wrote something for $5. I don't know. It should work just as good as $30. Let's give it a shot. So we wrote it for $5, and she said, what a change in attitude from the hospital attorneys and a change of attitude from the judge. She said they treated me really nice, and they accepted the $5 payment for as long as it takes to come up with tens of thousands of dollars to pay the child's medical bills. And she said, what a turn in the attitude to the hospital attorney and the judge. They treated me nice because I accepted the debt, I accepted the status and the position of their court, I accepted the role, and this is the best way I can honor it. And they were all happy. Instead of hearing me, scream and whine and say, I got no money, I can't do this, they said, you know what, fine. I recognize the debt, I'm a debtor, I owe you a debt.
Okay, but in Life Changes situation,
you
did not earn any. You didn't earn
I didn't make the money. I didn't make the money in the first place.
So where are they coming up with where are they coming up with there's also 6 different
ways.
They're
saying they're basing it on averages of people in his age bracket living in his area, and
that particular profession I was involved in at the time.
Okay, well, the simple thing you could do to them, there's six definitions of taxes, of how the money could have gone into your bank account.
It didn't. I showed them my bank account. There was no money in it. There are no 1099s. There are no W-4s. There's nothing.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is, to anybody who's dealing with the IRS like that, when it comes to an income tax, there's 6 forms of taxes. Okay? So, like, this is how I got the guy out of his problem with the income tax nonsense that he was dealing in Evansville. The IRS kept saying, well, these are income taxes. I said, are you sure? Are you sure that money in that bank account that was being transferred wasn't maybe wages or commissions or interest or alimony or capital gains or from operating a business or from gambling? Are you sure that money, every single penny in that account, is derived from income? And they were like, well, of course not. We don't know. I said, well, didn't I just give you like 6 or 7 other sources of income, or 6 or 7 other sources of funding that could go into a bank account that is not considered income? So how are you going to say that that's income? Was it capital gains? Was it alimony? Was it interest? Was it the commission? Was it wages? What was it?
Well, they're just taking his Social Security.
Well, what I'm saying is, they're trying to say he owes a debt based upon past IRS, past 1040 filings.
No filings.
You never filed with the IRS?
Not for those years.
I didn't say for those years. Are they basing an assessment on previous filings from previous years? Like if you were working 20...
Even if they were, those...
I didn't ask you to try to make them look bad. I'm just trying to get the straight... What are you basing it on? Hold on, let me do this. Before these years came about, I was making $15,000 a year. I got laid off from that job in 2001, 2002, 3, and 4. I didn't make more than about $20,000 for the 3 years total. Okay,
that's all they can show.
What are they telling you they're basing the assessment on? Are they saying from past 1045?
No, they're saying it's based upon where I was living, even though I was living with somebody who was paying the rent. I didn't have my name on the lease or anything. There's nothing that went through my bank. They simply said, you were working doing massage therapy in 2002, and so you should have been making $45,000, $50,000, and $55,000 those 3 years.
Okay. Now you're saying that that's what they said, and this is what I just try to say to every single person 1,000,000 times about this. Who is saying that this is what you made?
That's what I'm trying to say too. I've been asking who's making this claim against me, and they say, we don't know, but it doesn't matter, you owe it. Hey.
Okay, the person who says it doesn't matter, you owe it. Okay, then you say to them, what's your freaking name?
I know his fucking name. It doesn't matter. He's taking the money.
No, then that's what you need. You need to get their freaking name. And then if you want to, you could drag him into a local district court and say, this guy is committing fraud.
That's what I want to know. What local district court are we talking about?
You've got to get names, and you've got to get something in writing. Not just because somebody said it to you. That has no standing. That has no standing.
Right. I have paperwork from him claiming that I owe this money.
Okay, you got a paperwork on there from somebody claiming that you get it, and it specifically says your name.
Yes.
Okay, and so it says Bob owes $10,000 in past taxes to the IRS, and it's signed Susie Johnson.
Pretty much so, yes.
Then sue her.
Okay.
Give a fair warning. If she does, give a fair warning that if she doesn't rescind that if she doesn't revoke that or pull that back and restore your benefits, that you're going to take her to court and sue her for committing fraud.
Okay.
And there you go. But it better say that. I mean, it better say that, because I'm telling you, if I read that letter, I guarantee it doesn't say anything like that, and I guarantee you're confessing everything.
Okay.
Because that's what I'm saying. When I saw that stuff from the man from Indiana, when that man brought me down there and I read it, I said, do you realize that the IRS and the United States government, nobody made one claim about any damn thing, about any source, any bank account in yours. It's all you. He says that you're ridiculous. I said, I'm reading it. I'm reading the indictment. It's all based on confession. You said this. They didn't say anything.
Yeah, but I never did. I never confessed to any of this.
Okay, well, that's what he said to me, too. And when he when an ankle bracelet was on him, he said the United States government put it on. I said, no, you asked the United States government and the Marshal Service to put it on you. He says, no, I didn't. I said, yes, it does. Your name is the only name on that order to place that ankle bracelet upon your ankle is your name. I don't see anybody else requiring or asking or demanding that you wear an ankle bracelet. You asked them to put it on for terms and conditions of your release. Like I said, I don't know what you've got going with the IRS. I don't know what paperwork you're passing back and forth. Because I'm telling you, man, the IRS is their dynamite, man. They know their job. They know what they're doing. Look what happened, like I said, with Aaron Schiff. He's a master. I couldn't even hold his job. Man, this guy's so fucking good with this shit. I wouldn't even try. It's so simple, though. I am telling you, you are not reading what they sent you in the proper manner in which it was written. You're trying to guess what that letter says. You just say to them, look, who is saying that I should not get this benefit? Can you tell me their name? Bob or Susie? Who's saying that I can't get this? Who's denying me this benefit? Because
I've got an agent that has signed those letters.
What's the name? What's the name?
Yeah, I've got it. I can't pull it up off the top of my head.
You mean you don't curse this agent in your sleep morning, noon, and night? You don't say that's not as fast as Susie Johnson if this is the last thing I do.
No, I just think about where do I want to set up my sniper's nest.
That's what I'm saying. If somebody named Susie Cupcake is denying me money, and
I know the face. I don't need the name.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You got to get it in. You got to get them to sign it. They're not going to sign. They're not going to sign anything.
It's signed.
They won't. Okay, great.
I got paper that's signed.
Okay, well, like I said, buddy, if I was you, I'd curse and damn that woman for the rest of my life. He's stealing my money. I know directly who I'm going to sue.
Okay, we've got Central Florida and West Iowa in line yet.
Okay.
And
This will do me for now. I'm pretty wired up as it is, so.
You need to get the person who's denying you a benefit, their name, and you got to get them to say that I am denying you this benefit because you owe a past due, and at this point, the past due bill is satisfied. I'm going to recommend that you do not get any benefits. Susie Johnson.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not going to say it in those words.
Then you can't sue him unless he does. You got to get them to admit that this man is telling you that he won't do it. He won't release your funds because of this. It's just that simple. You got to get him to say something that he's saying that da-da-da-da-da. Because all it's going to be is your word against his word when you go into a court. Then it's like, I never said that to him. All he had to do was pay his taxes like everybody else. And I've been more than glad to release the benefits from him. Like I said, then it's going to be this he said, she said nonsense. That's why you got to try to trick them and trap them by writing simple one-sentence things to them. Hey, hey, my name is Bob. I believe your name is Susie. Susie, are you saying that I owe a debt to the IRS? Have a blessed day. Good luck and Godspeed. And wait for her to respond to you. You don't write this manifest destiny nonsense to her.
No, of course not.
You trap her. You kill her with kindness. You write beautiful, lovely letters to her.
okay, so there's no response for 30 days. Now what?
You send it to her. You say that you CC'd it to a supervisor, the Department of Treasury. You CC'd it to everybody. Say, hey, maybe Susie got ran over by a train. Maybe Susie's in a coma. There's somebody else in charge of my case because I'm waiting for a response from Susie. And you just make it nice and simple and sweet like that. One sentence at a time, one letter at a time, one sentence at a time. Boom, boom, boom.
If you don't respond by such and such a date, then what?
Nothing. You just say to their supervisor, maybe Susie is in a coma. Is somebody else in charge of this case? I have this pressing issue and I need this resolved as soon as possible. Thank you. Kind regards, Bob.
He told the people that I've hired to deal, in between this, the Tax Defense Network, that he would respond by levying my other account, my veterans benefits. If I didn't agree. If I didn't agree to $1,000 a month,
what I guarantee you didn't do is ever send one letter, one sentence at a time.
No.
I guarantee you got into verbal slugfest with these people. I guarantee you weren't.
I've never talked to him.
That's right.
I've never talked to him.
I'm sure you just didn't write a letter and said, hey, you know what? I think you're absolutely right. I think I owe a debt. Can you please sign it and tell me how much I owe?
Mm-hmm.
Then you just say, well, you know what? I think you're right. Please sign it and let me know what I owe. No, you can always keep saying they're wrong. Just say, hey, you know what, buddy? I think you're absolutely right. Can you please sign it, the debt and what I owe? Thank you. You could say reverse psychology. You're tricking them with kindness. You're killing with kindness. You're doing it completely backwards. They're ready for a confrontation. How about you saying, hey, buddy, you know what? I think you're absolutely right. I think you're dead on. You know what? I don't think I deserve a freaking dime. Can you tell me why I don't? Thank you, and sign it. There you go.
Okay.
Flip it on them.
Okay.
They're not used to that shit, and it knocks the crap out of them. They're like, what the hell? What the hell is this? This guy's what?
Good. I've changed you on that for a while. His calls are on Saturdays. You can
I'll make that on Saturday. Somebody else.
If he writes that letter, that'll be a life change.
There you go. All right, honey.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, dokie.
Alright, now we've got a couple more people here. West Iowa. You've been waiting a long time, and then Central Florida. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been
Hold on a
listening
second.
for
There
a
you
while, and what a lot of these guys have been going on, there's a really simple solution for everything they got. It has worked for me. Look into the trust or clear bill of trust doctrine, and when they come up and say you owe a debt, say, okay, I will be happy to pay the debt, but I cannot pay the debt because of Public Law 1, 40H Debt 1, they took away my gold and silver, and Public Law 10, 40H Debt 112, you're supposed to pay my debt.
And when did that...
Did that work for you?
Yeah, there you go.
Yes,
When did
it
it work?
did.
And you got any proof of it?
Yeah.
Okay, can you put it on Angela's website so you can tell the whole world so nobody has to deal with these criminals anymore? You can save the world.
Actually, if I had a computer, I would, but I don't have
Oh,
a
okay.
computer.
Wow. That'd be swell if you did. Well,
Yeah.
I figured with saving the world, it'd be worth going down to the local library and scanning it for $5 and letting the world see how
Well, we
this works.
could all look up what he said. But say it again. What did you...
I'm saying we could all look it up, Angela, but has it ever worked? He
Okay.
said it has, and he's got proof of it. So mail a copy to Angela, and we'll reimburse you the $5 for the mail.
Yeah.
I'll reimburse you. I'll send Angela $5. You send her the paperwork, show her where it worked. She said, I got a call. I'll give her $10.
Yeah. Well, basically, all I did was went to the internet and
Okay,
to the library, and
Of course,
I pulled up the
See, we can't just advise people that this stuff works and everybody's chasing around these ridiculous codes and saying, oh boy, let's study these codes for 50 years and get absolutely nowhere like Poor and Schiff did. He's sitting in federal prison because he believed he could crack the code. You can't crack these codes. And even you do crack the codes, they're still not going to give it to you.
We've been under bankruptcy since 1933.
That's wonderful.
And
So
so
what?
you got to bring up the Bankruptcy Act of 1933.
So what? It's the United States government's bankrupt, not me, not you.
Right. They took away our spending with the way they took away the loan. That's what that one gentleman was talking about.
The United States government closed up for a month. Did it affect me? No.
Take a deep
Why
breath,
should
Carl. You're escalating in pitch.
Well, all I'm trying to say is if the government closes down, who cares? Except the people who work for the government. Who cares? The park rangers, big deal. They don't get paid. So what? Let them go get a job at 7-Eleven. So what? Let the parks become private parks and let them, for contract for hire, let them be the Yosemite Park be sold to some company and let them operate it. If the government can't function, fine. Let somebody else take over it.
All right, we got another one, Central Florida. Go ahead. Did you have a question? We're going to wrap it up here. I got to go send to my son.
Oh,
Okay.
Go ahead, Central Florida.
I'll be real quick. This is for Karl. It's just a general.
Right.
Karl, you was talking about say the property owner in Chicago that didn't mow his lawn, and he was bringing down your property value, and therefore you would go to the city and have the city remove him because he's harming you.
I didn't say the city was going to remove. I didn't say the city was to remove him. But should the city go over there and maintain his property? Oh, you better believe it. If he's incompetent, oh yeah.
Okay. Well, my question is, if he doesn't maintain his property and it lowers your value, and therefore you can get someone else to come upon him, if he maintains his property and it increases your value, do you owe him a gratuity?
Yeah.
Well, I would agree with you. But most people, when they claim, well, someone's a blight, he's hurting my property value, and they claim, well, they can punish him for it.
Because if I realize the guy is a good neighbor, and there's a snowstorm and his snowblower burns up, I let him borrow mine. You don't got to pay me
That's his lawn?
No. You're getting off lawn. You're getting off my point. My point is, a person will call the city and claim he's a blight. He's lowering my property value. Therefore, I want to punish him. But if he takes care of his property and increases your property value, that same person will say, well, I don't owe him anything for making my property more valuable. So, there's a contradiction in the way
the way it's actually applied.
It's one hash washes the other. This property is open value as well. If you keep this house looking like a blight, the whole neighborhood goes down in value. You get cockroach. Look, said this guy was my friend. He owes $400,000 in debt. I said, dude, I'll sue you too. What happened if your gas generator that's running 24 hours, 7 days a week blows up and gasoline spills all over your house and it blows up your house and burns your house down and we get Miss O'Leary's cow in Chicago again and you wipe out half the neighborhood because you have the right to burn a generator 24/7. That's not OSHA approved. You just wire it up any way you jury rig it. You run up 10,000 feet of extension cords that's not OSHA approved. You burn down a freaking neighborhood and we're just supposed to say, oh, it's kumbaya, we're all man and mankind of planet Earth and we don't own anything? I said, no, dude.
Well, you're getting off my point. You're dragging me off my point. My point is, or my question, I suppose, would be, your neighbor doesn't have any obligation to perform to your satisfaction.
Whether not to my satisfaction, but the community standards, yes. If you want to be part of the community, yes. If you look, you asked me my opinion. You asked me my opinion, right? No. Is it wrong? No. You asked me my opinion. I'm giving you my opinion. I didn't say I was right. I didn't say I was wrong. Do I want to live next to a neighbor that's a pig? No. Do you want to live next to a neighbor who's a pig? Well, if you do, God bless you. I didn't say I was right. I didn't say I was wrong. Well, you gave me my opinion. I gave you my opinion.
Okay, but you say, well, he doesn't owe you, but he owes the community. Can you give the community, whatever that is, any authority that you don't possess yourself? If he doesn't owe you, how can he owe a community anything? If you are the community and he doesn't owe you.
Dude, like I said, this is just an opinion. If you're my neighbor and I see that you're taking care of your property and you're trying to take care, then I realize you're taking care of your property, you're helping take care of me. Are you taking care of yourself? If you can't take care of yourself, then obviously I got to pick up your slack. And why should I pick up my slack just because you don't want to do what everybody else is doing? You know what? It's time for you to leave that neighborhood. You know, why are you being a burden on everybody in your family and your neighbor? If you want to be a moron, if you want to be, go someplace else.
Well,
now, you got the right.
I agree it's inconsiderate, but I'm not asking you if it's inconsiderate. I'm asking you, does he owe a duty to anybody to maintain his property? As long as he keeps his sink on his property and his whatever on his property, yes, and he doesn't trespass on anyone else, he owes nobody anything.
Yes, it's a duty. It's not a right. But you have a duty, privilege, and an obligation. That's not the same thing as a right. Does anybody have the right to demand it of him? No. But do you have a duty and obligation to be a member of society and be treated equal within the society? Well, then you better act accordingly. If you don't want to be a part of this community, then go someplace else. Or, we're going to shun you. And guess what? When you get a 911 phone call and you need police, you need fire service, and nobody comes and helps you, what are you going to do? You're going to say, good. It comes around and goes around. You want to be like that? Be like that. I get into arguments with people so many times over county taxes, it's scary. People who don't want to pay for community services, county services, I said, who's going to take care of the old ladies? Who's going to take care of the children in schools? You got a public education. You paid county, your mom or your grandfather paid, or somebody paid county property taxes that had no kids either, or wasn't married. You didn't see them not saying back then in 1950, 1960, well, I'm not going to pay because I'm not getting any benefits out of it. Well, eventually, somewhere along the line, you got an education. Somewhere, some cop protected you, or the fire department came and saved you out of a burning car. Somebody, and now you owe a duty back to the community. Now, you see, what I say to people all the time with this county stuff, I said, look what happened to the county in California. Look what happened to the county in Alabama, Jefferson County. Look what happened when all these people in the counties were embezzling funds and making paychecks of $300,000 a year. They're all sitting in jail. So if you don't believe that your county is spending the money that's coming into them wisely, just open up the books. Find out where there's fraud, find out where there's nepotism, find out where there's embezzlement of funds, and believe me, they'll all go to jail. But if somebody's saying that the books balance, you got to let you got to pay your county taxes, and if you demand a certain standard, and if the county all agrees, like, look, if we live in Beverly Hills, this is how we roll in Beverly Hills. You want to live like that? Go live in Long Beach. Don't think you're going to bring your Long Beach here to Beverly Hills because the community's going to turn their back on you. When you need help, we're not going to be there for you.
I agree that's okay for the community, but the county, you say, well, you pay your county taxes, that's that's by force and extortion. There's nothing voluntary there.
They're providing you a service. They're providing you a service. Okay,
but it's not a voluntary service. It's not a voluntary service.
Okay, so when a hurricane hits or a tornado hits or a flood hits in your community, are you telling me when you get 10,000 trees blocking your front door and you can't get out of your house and can't get into the road, the county should just bypass you because they say, oh, this is a county tax protester, so we don't help them because we don't owe a duty to somebody who doesn't want it?
What I'm saying is maybe your neighbor will help you, but the county is like you said, if the state accuses me, well, the IRS, I want the IRS to speak up in court. Well, the IRS can't. Neither can the county. The county does not exist just as much as when the IRS speak up or forever hold the peace. It's the same thing. Okay. It doesn't exist.
So you're in Central Florida. So when a hurricane hits Central Florida, if you don't pay your county taxes and all these trees fall down around you, they should just leave you basically barricaded in your house and not try to come and help you because you're not a community member. Somebody should say, just sit there and rot because you're not helping other people in the community. Or they should say, you know what, be a capitalist. And during a hurricane, it's going to be $5,000 for each tree to be removed. So you're going to have to get somebody $50,000, $60,000 to remove 10, 12 trees because you want the county to provide services. What if the county just says, you know what, screw you people, we're unincorporated, you're on your own. What happens if you live in an unincorporated counny?
That's how it should be, and then you help your neighbor, and your neighbor helps you. But this county doesn't exist.
And you know, and everybody on this call knows the names of their neighbors. No, nobody knows who their neighbors are anymore.
No, but what he's saying is it should be that way. It should be, you know, we're going to help each other, but it's not.
What I'm trying to say is, if the IRS cannot stand up in court and speak their piece or forever hold their peace, neither can the county demand you pay them for permission to live in a home and then claim that they're going to provide you a service if a hurricane shows up.
You know what I would love? You know what I would love? Like, say you live in Duval County. I don't know where Seminole County or Volusia County. I don't know where you live. What Polk County? I don't know what county you live in Florida. Down there. But man, I would just wish all you people had a big tax protest against the county, and you guys made yourselves unincorporated. And the first time a freaking hurricane or tornado comes through, you guys all try to figure out where you're going to come up with $1 billion because guys like me with chainsaws are going to come all over the country and try to help you guys. But we're going to get
you guys with the chainsaws that show up to help aren't going to charge $1 billion.
Yes, we do. You better believe we do. Oh, you better believe we do.
Then we'll tell you to go away and we'll take care of it ourselves.
And then what happens? It takes a year or two. I mean, when you get into a real flood, like look at New Orleans. It's 10 years later and they're still trying to make
terrible. No, terrible things happen. But the county, they point a gun at you and say, if you don't pay the tax, we're going to throw you out of your house.
You know what I'd do if I was the county? If enough people said, you know what, is this how you really feel about me? You really don't think, you think we're acting evil? You really think we're bad people? You know what, we're just going to wrap it up. We're all going to go home. You're all on your own. Have a nice day. What I'm saying, Karl, the logistics. No, because I get a lot of these crazy people, Freeman and Montana people saying, oh, we need to make our own prisons and we need to put these people in prison. I said, do you know the logistics to just try to house one prisoner? Do you realize you have to have a round-the-clock shift, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Do you realize you have to provide food, house, and cleaning, and provide sanitation for this one inmate? And so you want to take this one judge into custody. Do you realize what it's going to take to provide? You know how many millions of dollars it's going to take to house this clown for 1 year? You have no idea the logistics of what it takes to keep a county operating or a city. I mean, I got these people like Rock Glass saying that, well, we got 13 delegates and 13 original colonies, and when the United States government collapses, we already made a deal with the Pentagon that we're going to take over the states. Dude, I'd like to see you take over your mobile home park. Why don't you take over a mobile home park and make sure you get the sanitation, you provide all electrical services, you got the water, and you got the trash collection pickup, and the place actually looks decent. When you can maintain a mobile home campgrounds, then talk about taking over a city or taking over a county. The logistics is staggering. So God bless these people that are doing what they're doing. And believe me, when they get caught embezzling, they go to jail.
But Karl, if it's not provided on a voluntary basis, and the county does not exist on a voluntary basis, it's either slavery or it's freedom.
Really?
You can't.
So you don't owe a duty to your community. You don't believe that you.
I owe nobody anything, and nobody owes me. I'm a free man.
So what happened if this was a great, wonderful belief? So say you have that great, wonderful belief, and everybody in the county just rolled up and went home.
That doesn't outlaw. That doesn't make it against the law for me to be friendly and help my neighbor to be friendly and help me. But as far as the duties,
what's the odds? How many people do you really know are in physical shape to cut down trees, move trees, and reload? How many people do you know have John Deere's and backhoes in their backyard?
That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant.
It's not irrelevant. Look what happened in Colorado during the floods. Look what happened to the street. We had 12 inches, 14 inches of mud. If the county didn't come in there and clean up the roads, it's like, look, it's like buying insurance.
Carl, the people would have done it themselves.
It's no different than insurance. If you don't pay into fire insurance, or home insurance, or flood insurance, or wind damage, and then when the hurricane comes, you're bitching and moaning every year that you got to pay $5 grand, $10 grand into all these insurance policies. But God bless, when all of a sudden this hurricane, the tragedy happens, they're right there waiting for you, and there you go, and they cover you. And it's like, now I understand why I paid all this freaking money for all these years. Now it makes sense. Because when you're not reaping the benefits, you don't understand what all it takes to just maintain status quo.
Okay, guys, I got to get going here.
Okay.
We need to wrap it up.
I'm just asking for a voluntary agreement and nothing by force at the barrel of the gun. That's all I'm asking.
Thank you, so like I said, like the simplest one I could just say about, like, say, Florida. You got all these billionaires living on these beachside homes in Palm Beach, Palm Springs, whatever, and the hurricane comes, it wipes out their $1 billion homes, it wipes out their $1 billion the beach roads, and all of a sudden we got to pay $1 trillion to restore Palm Beach, California. Why? So these billionaires could go back on their yachts and boats? No, they should pay it out of their own damn pockets. But no, the county picks up the tab, the state picks up the tab, and the feds pick up the tab. Now, to me, when I see a billionaire guy's homeland in the ocean during a hurricane, I say, oh, well, I know he's covered. And they're like, well, wait a second. Who's going to rebuild the road, and who's going to put these 10 billion tons of sand back in my front yard, where my front yard used to be? Say, well, don't think we're going to restore the beach. That's your problem. Move inland like everybody else. It's like, no, I bought front property, oceanfront property. Right, oceanfront property, and the county owes me a duty to restore it because I put all this money in all these years. I paid county taxes, and I want my property restored. Just like they do to the guy inland. The guy inland would say, look at all these palm trees in front of my mobile home. I want the county to come here and clean it up and restore the land the way it was before the hurricane, and the county will do it. So see, that's what I'm saying. It's just basically an insurance policy. But like I said, a lot of counties were embezzling funds, but those people, I don't remember that huge county out there in L.A. They all went to jail. Somebody said, hey, can we just look at the books? Can we see if anybody in the county is embezzling any funds? Where did all this money go? I thought we had like a honeypot waiting for a rainy day. Now it's a rainy day. Where's the honeypot? And it's like, we tapped into it. Well, now they're all in jail. So believe me, when they do wrong, they go to jail.
Not enough. But anyway, that's another story for another call.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm defending the bad guys all the time. I'm so far away from counties and cities and everything. I'm defending these people. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well.
It's funny.
For you.
Yeah, I'm defending the IRS. I'm defending everybody. It's ridiculous.
Really? All right, so you going to have your call this Saturday?
Oh, yeah, because I kind of figured if I didn't defend the bad guys, this would just be one big slugfest. Let's dump and beat on the government and beat on everybody. So I figured it would be controversy.
Your call ID is 127469, is it?
Oh, yeah, that's what it is.
127469, and you start anywhere from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock Pacific, right?
Right.
Is that right?
But 3 to 6, I try to do the English folks.
Yeah, okay.
And then I do the American folks after that. But yeah, see, that's
but anybody could call in and listen, and I mean, it's always a benefit.
Oh yeah, but you gotta be nice to the English folks, and you gotta because I don't screen the calls, and I just let everybody talk whenever they want. I'm usually walking around outside. I
don't know how you would screen the calls anyway. I mean,
you block them like you do. Like you tell everybody it's *8. There is no *8 on my thing. Everybody has an open mic all the time.
Oh, well, that's your problem. You change that.
That's right. That's crazy, but that's what I do. I like it that way. It makes the,
okay.
it makes the conversation like more like Jack had it, more like Mike had it. Just crazy. Anybody could come with the craziest nonsense and just say whatever they want.
Jack had everybody muted until he let them
talk. Oh, he let me run wild. He was good. He let me because he knew I'd start controversy. He loves when I mixed it up. He's like, oh, Karl, no matter, even if I totally believed in every single thing, like this guy said, volunteer, yes, of course, I could agree with this guy. Yes, I could show where he's got a wonderful case, but it would be a boring show if all we kept doing was agreeing with everybody. So that's why Mike loved me, because Mike's like, Karl, you could be for the IRS or against the IRS next week. I said, that's right. Where do you want me to go with this, Mike? Do you like the guest that's on your show? Yes, I like the guest. Go easy on him, Karl. Okay. Well, he didn't like the guest. He's like, oh, I hate this clown. Nail this guy, Karl. It's like, okay.
I like hearing winning strategies.
Oh yeah, it's just fun to bring. It's just good to be pro and con sometimes. No matter what anybody says, I'm going to try to spin it. If it just like
you want to be the devil's advocate and show both sides and look how it could go, so on and so forth.
It's county taxes and shouldn't we pay? I'll play both devil's advocates, right? But if you want to know how to tender when they tender you a bill, I'm going to play it straight up and say this is how you handle a bill. Now, if you want to say should we pay county taxes, right? Should we pay county taxes? I could either take the yes or the no. But once you get the bill, I'll be straight up and just say this is how you handle the settlement or the tender or the payment of the bill. That's simple. I cut right to this is how you do it legally and lawfully. Everybody's going to love you. There's no opinion here, and this is all they want to see. And I get away from opinion, and I say, no, this is the straight deal. This is how you tender a bill. Should the county be able to bill you? That's not a here or there. You got the bill? Yeah. You want to deal with them, make them go away? This is what you do.
Got to find the person that makes the claim, right?
And then pay him $1 a month for the next 10,000 months. And you know what? They'll be happy. The books will bounce, and everybody's happy, and everybody sings Kumbaya, and the judge loves you.
Okay, honey. We got to wrap it up. I got to go. So we'll see you on Saturday. And good night, everybody. Oh, I wanted to mention next Thursday I'm hoping we're going to have Karen Udis on. She's the whistleblower from the IMF World Bank. So that should make an interesting call.
I just got off the... she wanted me to go up to the world meeting with her on Saturday. Oh, yeah, she called me up, and she said, I need somebody to bring me into the building, because last time I got up there, I had a pass from the Polish embassy. She said, but the second day I came up, I was arrested. So they know who I am, and she says, I wanted to lean the judge, because he won't remove the arrest from my record. And I said, no. I said, you can't lean the judge. What you have to first do is you have to first prove that the claim that was brought before the judge was brought in error, and it should be discharged. And then, once you get it discharged, then you ask the judge that you're going to require him to expunge the record. And she's like, no, I'm going to lean the judge. I said, ma'am, do you have any idea how many people are sitting in jail for leaning a judge? So that phone call didn't last too long. If she's listening, I had to hang up on her.
Well, I don't think she's listening. She didn't know I didn't mention to her that I was having you on. I just sent her an email to invite her on next Thursday.
Ask her next week. Ask her that instead of me. Ask her that. How are you going to
come on and talk to her if you want?
Oh no! How are you going to attempt to? How are you going to attempt to lean a judge? Because I've known dozens of people who lean judges who are sitting in jail.
She represents the law firm, doesn't she?
She did, but like I said, it's like a doctor or a lawyer graduating law school. Somebody had to finish at the bottom of the class.
Just here on their website, Law Offices of Karen Udis.
Yeah, but like I said, I ran into a lot of FBI agents who were also lawyers, and you know what I'm saying is, just because you're a doctor, somebody had to finish at the bottom of your doctor graduating class. Just because you're a lawyer, somebody finished at the bottom of your law. If she just kept saying to me, no, I'm going to sue. I'm going to lean the judge. I was like, you mean Bob, the guy wearing the black robe? You mean he stepped out of a character and he did something illegal or unlawful? He was like, no, he won't expunge the record. I said, because you haven't gone through the process the way you're supposed to go. First, to expunge the record, you have to prove that the original claim, the original charges brought before him were brought in error. Have you proved that yet? She says, no, they just dismissed it. I said, well, it's not discharged yet. Dismissed means they can keep bringing it up. you're going to have to make a claim against the person who made the charge against you that he brought a frivolous claim or he brought false charges, and win that case. And when you win that case, then you can come back to the judge who won't, with the dismissal, and say, not only should the case be dismissed, it should be discharged, and my record should be expunged. And she had no idea what I was talking about. She's like, no, I'm going for the lien. You're not going to convince me not to lien the judge. I said, you're going to go to jail, lady. You can't lien the judge. I've never seen it successfully work. I said to the lady, can you show me anywhere in U.S. history where liening a judge has actually gave anybody any kind of money or any compensation or expunged a record or not just led them directly into jail? I said, you just want to be a martyr? I said, because it's suicide, what you're doing. It makes no sense. Not legally, not lawfully. I don't know what you're doing, ma'am. So, yeah, she should be interesting. You got disconnected. How are you going to hit the disconnect button?
You know what? I got disconnected. I just got back on, but I was listening to you the whole time because the computer speakers came on as soon as I got disconnected. Anyway, thanks so much for coming on.
All right. Somebody named Liberty Hill said, keep talking, Carl.
Well, I wrote up there I got disconnected, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then you just keep walking.
All right, well, we'll see you on Saturday anyway. I'll probably try to make it onto your call. And hopefully we'll have Karen Udis on next Thursday. So that should be interesting. A little bit different. She knows all about the IMF and the World Bank and all their corruption and stuff. So that should be an interesting call. All right, everybody, I love you. Take care. We'll see you next time. And I guess that'll do it. Good night, Carl.
All right, take care, Angela.
Thank you so much.
Okay, it was fun.
Yeah. All right, bye-bye.